Hello and welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews. And today we've got our last part of the ballads, 80s ballads, I'm sad to say, but we're coming to the conclusion and we're going to get straight on with it. So we're going to go Mark and then we're going to go Darren, then myself. So Mark, you go ahead, mate.
All right. It dawned on me throughout this series, I had not picked the actual Kiss song. I had picked a couple of Peter Criss solo songs, but I had not picked a Kiss song. So I'm going with Reason to Live off of Crazy Nights, 1987. There were a lot of good Kiss ballads in the 80s, but this one really stands out to me. Probably because this was my first actual Kiss show. I never got to see them back in the day with the makeup until the reunion tour later. So I saw them in '87 on this tour, and great show. Love that song. I really miss Bruce Kulick in that band.
Great.
I wish after Peter and Ace had left, they would have brought Bruce back into the band and wiped Peter's makeup off of Eric Singer's face and resumed the Revenge Carnival of Souls lineup. But unfortunately they didn't. But anyway, Reason to Live, great power type ballad.
I love the song, man.
One of their better ballads.
I love it.
Love that album.
Catchy. Yeah, great. It's a great song. It's a really good choice. I love that song. I mean, that was when they was at their most commercial, I think, on that album, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Great,
how have we got 3 videos deep and you're only picking Kiss now?
I don't know. That's what I said. It dawned on me. I hadn't picked it.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, go on in, Darren.
Okay, first up, I'm going with 1984. I'm going Night Ranger. I'm going Sister Christian. Light piano opening on this with kind of like the vocals overlaid to it. Builds up and up and up, and then you get your motor in. What's your price for flight? It's been used in a lot of TV shows and stuff and movies and whatever, but where I really liked it was I saw the stage play for, I don't know if you guys ever saw the stage play for Rock of Ages. Now, I had a bit of something for everyone, had a bit of something for her and a bit of something for me. The music for her or music for me and the drama for her, whatever. But it was used in that as well. And that's where I always liked that song, like Sister Christian. But when I saw it on that stage play, I thought, oh, that's actually, I'm going to give that another proper listen again because it's actually quite used. Now, it was sang in kind of a Broadway manner there, but like when you actually go back and listen to the song itself, it's just a great ballad.
I didn't listen to a lot of Night Ranger back in the day, but I know their guitarist is it Brad Gillis, their guitarist?
Yeah.
Brilliant guitarist. I mean, I saw him on the Stars video. I don't know if you remember that, Darren and Mark. Ronnie James Dio did like a For Africa sort of thing, and he got all the musicians in the 80s together, and he'd done a brilliant guitar solo on that. But apart from that, Night Ranger, I wasn't really, I didn't really hear a lot about him. So, I mean, well, we're going to put it on the Spotify ballads, obviously. I'll be able to hear that one and maybe get into them a bit more. But I do know of them, obviously. They were quite big in the 80s, but never listened to them a lot. But great choice, mate. Right, my first choice is, it's quite hard to get a ballad from this band, I suppose, because they haven't done an awful lot. And it's one of my favourite bands, Queensryche. So I hope you're not thinking I'm choosing that 1991, because I'm not. I'm not choosing Silent Lucidity, which is their big one. But it's from the Rage for Order album, and it's a song called I Will Remember, and it's tagged right on the end of the Rage for Order album. And it sounds completely different than the rest of the album. It's acoustic all the way through. Jeff Tate he's got to be up there with the top vocalists of all time in his day. He was absolutely amazing. And you guys, if you haven't heard this song, I don't know even if you're into Queensryche, Mark, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But a lovely, beautiful song it is. And like I said, Jeff Tate, he does a bit of whistling on this as well. It's very atmospheric. And it's even an acoustic solo as well. Really beautiful solo going through it. And totally different than the Rage for Order album. If anything, the Rage for Order album was a bit futuristic sounding, really ahead of its time. And this was tagged on the end. Beautiful song. Absolutely beautiful. And that's my first choice.
Cool. Look forward to checking that out.
Yeah.
I don't know it, but yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So next, I'm going with the Double O, the Osborne from
Wow.
Look at the Moon, 1983. The song was called "So Tired."
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Great ballad. My only gripe, they did a video for this song, and they had all these disfigured creatures in the video, and they kind of downplayed the significance of how good a ballad it was with this dumbass video they did for it. It was like Ozzy didn't want to embrace doing a ballad, but it was really a great ballad. And this is actually my favorite Ozzy album. Love J.P. Lee as a guitarist. He's probably my favorite Ozzy guitarist.
Well, man, I mean, I know that's a bit controversial saying that because of Randy Rhoads passing, obviously, but I mean, I'm the same as you. Them two albums are my favourite Ozzy albums, especially The Ultimate Sin, actually. The next album,
Right.
I loved it. Absolutely loved that album.
I'm not by any means saying Jake was a better guitarist than Randy, but Jake was the guitarist when I got into Ozzy's solo albums, solo career.
Yeah, I love those two
I actually
albums.
saw him
Love them.
on the Ultimate Sin tour, and great show. And they had Queensryche opening for him on that show, by the way.
Oh, wow.
That was one that stands out in my mind.
There is an element of that, isn't there? When when you like a band, you kind of, it's when you got into them. That's almost the lineup you like. I mean, for me, Kiss's drummer is Eric Carr. Not Peter Criss, because I like that Hot in the Shade album. The first that was kind of when I first liked Kiss. So it's kind of that's who I think of as Chris or as Kiss's drummer. So you can kind of go back to it, can't you, a little bit like that as to who your favorite lineup was, and that's why you like a band.
Totally agree. Totally agree, man. I mean, that goes totally true, that, Darren, because I mean, even when you talk about a big band like Iron Maiden and their classics really are known, their better albums are known as, Peace of Mind, Power Slave, but people like the obscure ones, the one that's meant to be poor, because that's when they got into the album. That's when they got into the band. So you're totally right. Absolutely right there. Right then, mate. Darren.
Okay. I'm gonna do a mark on it. I have the album, so I'm going. I'm going Genesis 1986 from this album, which I've reviewed myself on my channel. From the Invisible Touch album, I'm going In Too Deep. It was released in the US in 1987, but for the album 1986. Man, it's just everything from the video to the song, all of it. The video is classic looking Phil Collins. The suit with the trainers and the rolled up sleeves. Just the video is great. But the song itself is just about the breakdown of a marriage or a relationship, and I have the lyrics here. Just that lyric always gets me every time. It always has since I've been a child. I've loved this song. I love you, but I just can't take this. I love you, but I'm playing for keeps. And it's like, it's conflicting emotions, and it's kind of like he knows he has to let it go, but doesn't want to let it go. And then you've got Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks, on keyboards, and Mike's guitar and stuff. And it's all just so subtle. And they never play it live. They just don't play this song live ever, which is unfortunate. But it's my favorite song off that album, and my favorite video that Genesis done. It's just got them steps and stuff on it. I love this. I always have loved this song since I was a child.
It's a bit weird with me and Genesis. I mean, I know they're not considered heavy rocking. They're sort of rock, aren't they? But I mean, they're sort of. I think they're one of my sort of guilty pleasures in a way. They're not. It's not something I would. It's not something I would go out and buy, or what I mean. But if it comes on, I'll keep it on. If it was on the radio, what I mean? It's one of those sort of bands for me. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you know what I am, Lee. I'm the guilty pleasure conduit of Olympian rock and metal reviews.
You definitely are, mate. You definitely are, yeah. Right, my next one. I can't believe I didn't choose this before, because this is a bit of an obscure one. And it's from a band, and I'll try to look back, because I was thinking, have I said this on the previous show? But I checked, and I don't think I have. It's a band called Zeno. So, and they brought a few albums out. Sadly, the guitarist, who is Zeno Roth, which is the brother of Ulrich John Roth, who played with Scorpions, Michael Schenker. And this is a song called Don't Tell the Wind from his debut album called Zeno in 1986. Now, man, this is a real epic song. This is one of them ones, Darren, you've been saying, like, messaging us when we've been giving you these occasional songs, a bit like the Stan Bush one, a bit like the one that Mark gave you, the Tesla one. Yeah. This is one of them songs you're going to absolutely love. really atmospheric. Guitar solo is one of the best solos I've ever heard, not because of the complexity, but the way it comes in, it just hits you. It really hits you. It's an amazing song. This guitarist, Zeno Roth, just plays with so much melody, just like his brother, really. He's sadly passed away now. But Don't Tell the Wind, it's known, this is one of those albums as known as an AOR classic, but was never thought of at the time. So you're going to love it, Darren. And I remember when it came out, it took a lot of stick because I think it had so much money put into this album. It was like meant to be the big thing, the big band. And all the critics slated it for some reason, but now it's known as a classic. It's one of them. It's really one of them.
What year did you say it was, Lee?
86. 86.
Okay.
Yes. So, I mean,
Right.
the whole album is a perfect album in my opinion. And they actually supported Queen when Queen played a few gigs in England. They came over and supported them as well because they had that different sort of sound to them as well. But it's a brilliant song off a brilliant album. Don't Tell the Wind. Check it out on the Spotify list when I put it on there later, mate.
All over it.
All right. Okay, Mark.
Okay. After Jakey Lee was ousted from Ozzy's band, he formed Badlands with Ray Gillen, Eric Singer, who had both just come off a stint with Black Sabbath. Badlands is a very blues-based hard rock band. Jake, his guitar tone he has a tone that I've never heard anybody else play with. He's just a great guitarist.
Yeah.
And the song on this album that I picked is called Seasons. It's not one of the better known Badlands songs, but great song that should have had
What a
more
voice.
exposure.
What a voice Ray Gillen had, man. And he's passed away now. Wow.
He stepped in for Glenn Hughes when Glenn couldn't complete the Seventh Star tour. And he was just a great singer, and unfortunately died way too young in 1993. He could have gone on to do so much more, but unfortunately he let his demons get to him and left us way too soon.
Did you say Eric Singer was in that band?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
They're sort of like more of a bluesy.
Right.
They're very bluesy sort of rock, aren't they?
Yeah, kind of a White Snake vibe. Earlier White Snake, that blues-based hard rock. They did 2 albums and then released the third one after Ray had died. That was basically just in demo form. They never actually completed it. But yeah, they were a great band. And Eric Singer played on the first album before he went on to replace Eric Carr in Kiss.
Excellent choice, mate.
Nice.
Excellent choice.
Nice. Okay. I'm going to continue my guilty pleasure conduit role on this channel. I'm going to go with Kenny Loggins. I'm going to go soft rock. I'm going to go 1985 and a song by him called Forever. Man, I love Kenny Loggins. I love Kenny Loggins. He's known as the king of 80s movie soundtrack, right? He's better than that. He's better. If you listen to some of his albums, particularly in the mid 80s, particularly this song from that time, it wasn't for a movie. It's just a quiet and melancholy song. But then, I suppose, how does he hit its stride when he bursts into this chorus and it just goes. His vocals just go perfect. And the second chorus, his vocals go perfectly hand in hand with this electric guitar just overlaying it. I love Kenny Loggins, man. Get him away from I've done a Top Gun video and stuff. Get him away from all of that. Just listen to his material. If you like a bit of soft rock, Kenny's your man. And this song, Forever, 1985, is a song for me.
By the way, I checked out your Top Gun video. If anyone's watching now, check it out. I mean, I loved it, man. I was watching it on the way to Kent. I drove to Kent and back yesterday and listened to your Top Gun soundtrack video. It was fun. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So, good choice, mate.
Cheers,
so, it's funny enough, Mark, you mentioning that the Badland one you just done, because my next one has got a real connection to that. As you mentioned, the Black Sabbath connection. So I'm choosing a song off of the Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi album, which was a bit weird at the time because it does sound like a Tony Iommi solo project. It doesn't really sound like any of the other Sabbath albums, but I absolutely loved it. I think it's one of the most underrated Black Sabbath albums going. So Glenn Hughes was on vocals, and I've chosen the song No Stranger to Love, which was a single as well. Oh man, it's got Glenn Hughes. What a voice! But it's quite funny. I mean, I remember reading about he did, like Mark just said, he didn't make the tour. He started touring, and Tony Iommi absolutely ripped the piss out of him in an interview in like Kerrang, I think I was reading, where he said like basically they kept going into his dressing room and he was just eating Mars bars constantly and got so fat that he couldn't carry on, basically. But he don't look like that now. But I mean, yeah, if you ever see him in that on that Seventh Star tour, or you see photos of him, he's always had like black on, like a big black coat, long coat to hide like how fat he was getting. And apparently he was so unfit that he couldn't carry on. That's what Tony Iommi was saying. But No Stranger to Love, man, an absolutely quality tune. Not again, so atmospheric. One of the best tunes Black Sabbath ever wrote, as far as I'm concerned. A brilliant ballad. And it's definitely a ballad, even though it's Black Sabbath. I think you would agree there, wouldn't you, Mark?
Oh,
yeah.
I almost picked that up.
Yeah, it's a brilliant song.
Glenn was in pretty bad shape back then. He had just come off the Gary Moore album, which Darren mentioned, I think, in the last episode, Run for Cover. He did 2 great songs on that album. And then he joined Sabbath. He thought he was joining a solo project, and they ended up calling it Black Sabbath. And he did not sit well with him. He did not want to go out and perform Ozzy and Dio songs. He got real heavy into drugs. I think he did 3 shows in that tour before they finally booted him out the door and brought Ray Gillen in, who finished the tour, did a great job.
Man, he's got a good voice, though. His voice all across that album is absolutely outstanding, and, well, such a strong voice. I don't know if it suited Black Sabbath totally. That's probably why the album didn't really sound like Black Sabbath, but, you know, it's a brilliant album. Absolutely outstanding. Right, okay, that's me. Mark?
Just on that, Lee. I hate when you go to a gig and the singer that you remember, like from the 80s, and now they just don't look like that anymore. Look, time gets us all in the end, you know what I mean?
Man, well,
when they just don't look the same, it's heartbreaking.
I think the most one who really doesn't, I think we spoke about him last week, was Don Dokken. He's really suffering at the moment. He's really ill, but I don't like seeing him like that. It's horrible seeing him like that last gig he did. Nah, it's not nice. It's not nice at all, but there you go.
Great.
Okay. We're back to Mark, are we?
Yep.
I'm going Kix, K-I-X, from 1988. The album's called Don't Close Your Eyes. Kind of an odd subject matter for a ballad about suicide. This song, I don't know about in the UK, but this song was pretty popular back in the day. Pretty depressing subject matter, but a great ballad all the way around. Kix was one of those bands that made a brief splash and never really hit the big time, but
bad time, man.
They were great.
Bad time. 1988, not the best time, is it, for bands then?
Right.
Yeah. Right, cool.
Yeah, well, you're heading into your bands like that. You're heading into the early 90s. They're toast.
Yeah. Totally. Right, man.
Okay. I picked a movie from a soundtrack, from a movie soundtrack the last time around, from a St. Elmo's Fire soundtrack. So this time I'm going to pick another song from a soundtrack, this time from 1985, from the Rocky IV soundtrack.
Nice.
I'm going with Robert Tepper, No Easy Way Out.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I like that song.
Great power ballad. The bass line on this is, so you guys clearly know, the bass line on this is insane. You know, boom. It's just going through it, and it's the best song of any Rocky movie, of them all the Rocky movies, and it's a power ballad that rivals any power ballad ever for me. It kicks it off with just, the tone is set from the first lyric in the song. We're not indestructible, baby, better get that straight. And as soon as Robert sings that first line, it goes so hand in hand with the scene in the movie. I'm sure we know the scene, the driving scene after Apollo dies or whatever, but it goes so hand in hand with that movie, Baby, We're Not Indestructible. And it's fist pumping. It's a song to get into your car. As you said, Lee, you were driving the other day. Put this on and drive in your car. Drive around the block for no reason listening to this. It's just, it's arm out the window. It's just fantastic. The synthesizer in it, it's A lot of people say it's cheesy. Fine, it is. But the synthesizer in it is glorious 80s. Great power ballad.
I'm just glad it's going to be on my Spotify list, man. I'm just glad. It's cool. That's a brilliant choice, man. Right, my next one's a little bit obscure, I suppose, and it's another one of them bands that came late on in the 80s. It's a band called Prophet. I'm not sure if you've heard of them, Mark.
Yeah,
so,
I do know them. I know them.
Have you heard of them? Oh, brilliant. So they only had 3 albums out, and I wouldn't call the third album a proper album because it was like I think it was called Recycled. So they bought a load of demo stuff that they didn't use in the past and all that. But this is off their second album, come out in 1988, called Cycle of the Moon was the album, and it's easily their best album. I think it's an outstanding album. And it's the song called Sound of a Broken Heart, which is probably the most straightforward sort of song on the album as such. It sounded very 80s, very ballady 80s. Whereas a lot of that album was even a little bit progressive, few odd time signatures going on, very sort of different than anything that was happening at the time. The singer, man, the singer's called, I have to find this out, Russell R. Cara. He had an absolutely outstanding voice, and his voice even sounded a little bit like Jeff Keith to me from Tesla, a little bit. They're from American band from New Jersey, and they just, sadly, they just never made it. 1988, this album came out. I remember buying it. An absolutely outstanding album. Can't Hide Love. I know, going off topic a little bit, the second track in probably could have been used as a ballad on this show, but it's a bit heavier. Can't Hide Love is one of the best songs out of the 80s. Absolutely brilliant song, but that's my choice. Prophet, Sound of a Broken Heart.
I think I know that song. It's a great song.
It is. It's a really good song. Yeah, they're a really good band, and they just came and went, and that was it. See you later.
Yeah.
I've got the album on cassette. I probably hadn't listened to it in 25 years, but I need to dig it out.
Oh man, Can't Hide Love. I know we're talking about the ballads here, but that is one song you guys want to check out, and you'll just jog your memory, obviously, but it's an absolutely brilliant song. But Sound of a Broken Heart is also excellent. Okay then, Mark.
All right. I just mentioned Don't Close Your Eyes being kind of odd subject matter for a ballad. This one's even more out there. Motley Crue. The song is called You're All I Need.
Yeah.
It's a song about killing your girlfriend and singing about it from a padded prison cell. I love the song. I mean, I can't help but laugh when I listen to it, but it's a great song. And I'm not the biggest Motley Crue fan in the world, but I always enjoyed that song.
I like it as well.
Great song.
Like it. Yeah, it is a great song. Yeah.
It's a great choice for this, actually. That's brilliant.
It is. It's a brilliant song. Yeah. Okay then, mate.
Okay. I'm going to go something that's a bit personal to me on this one. I'm going with a song from 1989. I'm going Don Henley, The End of the Innocents. And the reason I'm going for this ballad, I think if there's one thing ever that me and my dad, who is still alive, by the way, but me and my dad have ever bonded over, it's our love of, obviously, music, but particularly the Eagles and Don Henley. I don't know if you guys like the Eagles. I would imagine not. But I like the Eagles. It's something. All right, cool. I took my dad to see Don's solo tour a couple of years ago in Dublin, and Don doesn't allow any phones in the audience. No phones. If security see with a phone, you're out, and it's all seated. So in a 15,000 seater arena, it can feel intimate. It can feel like an intimate gig, not like other gigs we might go to. And he played this song, "The End of the Innocents," and from 1989. But he played it a couple of years ago, and I held my dad's hand during it. It wasn't planned. It was just I took my dad's hand and I held his hand during the song, and it was always just unspoken. We've never really spoken of it since. It was just a unspoken respect, mutual love. Just love my dad. He loves me. We love Don Henley. We're in a moment here together, and it was just we were enjoying a few brandies together. That probably helped. But just this song, "The End of the Innocents," just has a special place for me, and I just thought it would be good for this show as well. Don Henley.
Oh man, I love a story with a song. I love a story. Don't worry about that. It's beautiful. No, it's good, man. No, that's excellent. Good choice, man. I'm going for next one. I'm going for is again another band that they're a heavy metal band actually that are sort of around still. Apparently they're talking about making some more music. It's a band called Sabotage. So they were quite late on in the 80s as well. And they had a different sound to them. They were very sort of operatic as well with their music, some of it. And their song that I'm choosing is called When the Crowds Are Gone from 1989's Gutter Ballet. Like I said, very operatic. Sadly, the guitarist died in a car accident. There's a brother that sings and a brother that plays guitar. So you've got John Oliver playing the vocalist and Chris Oliver the guitarist. John Oliver's vocals. I mean, you familiar with Sabotage, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. John, he's got a very distinctive voice, John Oliver. Really sort of powerful, a bit menacing, I suppose. But in this song, he just smashes it when the crowds are gone. Like I said, very operatic, very emotional. Probably off my favourite Sabotage album as well, Gutter Ballet. It's a brilliant song. That's my next choice. We've got 6 minutes
still going,
left. Yeah. I think they're still going, I believe. Yeah, I mean, they brought an album out. They went away. They had a new vocalist come in and they brought a few albums out with him. Then they brought the old vocalist back and had another album. And I think there's talk of them coming and doing another album. They haven't been touring or anything for quite a while now. But they're a true heavy metal band, but a lot of operatic sort of influences. Very different, really different for a metal band. I think we've probably got time for one more, guys. We've got 5.5 minutes left. So
right.
choose your best one.
Either one of you guys familiar with Blue Murder?
Yeah. John Sykes,
Yeah. Love Blue Murder. The song I picked off this album is called Out of Love from their debut album. John Sykes on vocals and guitar, Carmine Appice on drums, Tony Franklin on bass. Amazing band. Actually got to see them live in the early 90s and had John autograph my cassette cover after the show. Really nice guy. But they were just one of those bands that, again, they came out in the late 80s in that time when the grunge was coming in, and unfortunately they didn't blow up like they should have, but they were an amazing band.
Oh, just when you thought he couldn't top it, he brought out a cassette cover that had a signature on it, Darren. Oh, yeah, I mean. Well, of course you did. There you go. All right then, mate.
You're surprised by this?
No.
You're surprised by this?
Not at all. Not at all. Right.
Can Mark give a couple of honourable mentions as well?
Yeah, if you've got any, mate. If you've got any.
Yeah. Bon Jovi, She Don't Know Me.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cinderella, Don't Know What You Got.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, what a song!
I can't believe we didn't mention this one, but Striker, First Love. I know you love that song.
Yeah, I love that song. Yeah.
And then a band you've probably never heard of called Obsession, Desperate to Survive.
Nice.
That Cinderella song, what a great call. What a brilliant call. Love that Cinderella tune, man.
I agree.
It's so good.
Right, 3.5 minutes, Darren.
All right, I'm going a song by a Swedish rock band called Alien. They're doing a cover version that stayed 6 weeks in 1980. Yeah, it stayed 6 weeks. It was a cover version of a song called Only One Woman. And it's just, I don't think it's done too well elsewhere outside of Sweden, but it was originally written by the Bee Gees back in the day. They re-jazzed it in the 80s and just gave it this rock treatment that is just absolutely brilliant. The Swedish know how to do it, man. They know how to do rock music, particularly AOR, but they're just
even now,
fantastic.
Mate. Even now, they're brilliant. Yeah,
especially now.
Yes.
Especially now. Yeah. A couple of other honourable mentions. I'll go a few soft rockers here for you. I'm going to go for a global smash hit. Richard Marx, Right Here Waiting. I'm going to go for Paul Young, Every Time You Go Away. Christopher Cross, Sailing, and a Canadian artist I really like that never got any luck back in the day, guy called Aldo Nova, who done a lot of work with Bon Jovi. I'm going to go for a song from 1985 and his Twitch album, Rumours of You. Check that song out.
We'll do. I'm going to try and get all of these, even these honourable mentions, on the Spotify list. So we'll get them all on there anyway. Right. The last one I'm going with is from a band, yet again, that's a bit unusual for a ballad, but it's a band called Lizzie Borden, named after the Killer, Lizzie Borden.
Well,
So,
Lizzie Borden.
yeah, I love Lizzie Borden. He's like a shock rock metal artist.
Yeah.
The song I've chosen is Never Too Young off of Master of Disguise. Piano led all the way through it. Very cool song. Very operatic again. He was part of the LA glam scene actually, and theatrics on stage. He would like chop people's heads off, a bit like Alice Cooper and stuff like that. But this was a quite brilliant voice. Sounded a bit like Bruce Dickinson. You know, excellent voice, Lizzie Borden. That's my last choice, and I've only got one honourable mention because I didn't know how far we were going to get. But I chose a band called Shy. So you've probably heard of these, Darren. Maybe Mark has as well. The singer died a little while ago. Tony Mills. He worked with TNT as well for a little while. His best work weren't out of TNT. That was a bit poor, but the stuff with Shy was brilliant. And a song called Reflections from Brave the Storm, which was their second album. I think they were from Birmingham, but he had a great voice. Tony.
I'm taking it down now.
Yeah. Tony Mills had an absolutely brilliant voice, and that's why he took over from Tony Harnell and TNT, because he's got really hit the heights, you know. So that's my last choice, and we've got less than 1 minute to go. So listen, guys, before it cuts off, love this. We're going to carry on with the 90s ballads next. Yeah, and we might.
I've got a ton of them backed up. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on. Really enjoyed this program, and I'll see you next time.